and God I cross over. We are going to put a cross tonight. Hold me cross over. Hold me cross over. I have been to tribulation. I have been to persecution and got me cross over. In this life, me trial were many. Some of the time them me know say be a foreigner there, you know. So uno na go say with people, uno na go sing it like all me sing it. Here in a feet. Yeah, can't be a foreign people there. Me have been Jamaica from a Jersey, so me have sing the Jamaica way. And sometime me foot them get weary. Oh! And it feel like I would stumble. I know them are gonna see so. Me know them are gonna say fall. But sometimes when my problem come in a fall, you know me know. And it feel like I would stumble and drop a grove. Me know myself, but the jail to lands and leave me. I wish some people that just feel the presence of God tonight. Some people just shout out and walk up your mouth and say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. But the jail to lands that lead me. Put up your hand and say, lead me, Jesus. It's the hand that lead me steady. You see, I won't leap away while I won't leap for some millions. Oh, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Put up your hand tonight and say, Jesus, give me grace. That I would make it past the road. Can you walk me about and sing? When I turn around, it's like just we are man. Just we are man. 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 Holy Ghost, I love you, Jesus. Big one. In this life, me try and make many holy. Some of the time, me put them in weary. And it feel like I will suffer. I'm straight from road. Holy Ghost, I love you. But the dream to last and lead me, Jesus. It's God that keep me. Put up in my message. Give me grace that I will make it. Can I see some Holy Ghost people sing? And I turn around, this life is over. I'm alive, for you. And then Jesus is God. I climb upon the mountain top. So
Yes, indeed, and a good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'll be here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 8 minutes after the hour, 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada, at least by my time in studio. For those of you joining a little later on, yeah, you might get a little later than that, but it's 8 minutes after the hour, 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. Yes, and it's a new month. Yes, it's the month of September. We're quickly heading down to the end of 2024. Yeah, this year has been moving especially fast. Yeah. So we're quickly heading down to the end of 2024. And today was the first day of school. You know what? It's the first day of school. Let's give the children an early song for them to go in. Yeah, those, yeah, like Zoe and Zayla and yeah.
Understand that the most important
let me give the children one, yeah?
academics. Yes, man. Whoa. Calling upon parents and guardians, sending your children to school. Cause a good education in this life would be the greatest tool. Respect to the elders and the teachers and those in authority. Remember when you sit down to learn, children, now listen attentively. Because the world that you're going out into would be your greatest teacher. There is no time now to be reluctant, everything child is computer. Always aim for the sky, work hard, think about your future. Because I want all you to be qualified with an intellectual power. Child education is what you want if you must succeed. Yes, and you never know you could be an esteemed lawyer like Peter Devine. Qualification is what you need if you must excel. And you could be a great mathematician just like Dr. Kit Mitchell. Yes, inspiration is what you need. Children must prepare. And you could be a woman rising in parliament like Miss Emily Pierre. Education is what you want, but it comes with hard work. But you could be an economist, I tell you, just like Nazim Buck. When I was a young boy, I never liked going to school. Somehow I felt that I knew it all, and my friends all thought it was cool. You know what? I was a role model. What I did, my friends emulate. Some call me a troublemaker and say that I will not graduate.
And I want to say a special good night to all the listeners joining us via 91.9, 91.5. Our Real FM family. And those of you who over the past last week or so, you had to be bouncing between different YouTube channels, they are back to their normal YouTube. So we used to find Real FM before, we used to find Mr. Pierre and Andrea and Master Carl and so on. They are back to their normal YouTube page. They've re-established access to the page, so you can go to their original page. In fact, in the morning, I think they have one with them. My good friend, Mr. Dwight Hosford, is going to be on with Andrea in the morning, so look forward to that one.
Please don't be
somewhere after 7 there, I believe, yeah. 7:30 or so.
Liverpool, there is a saying, educated people just might end up.
So good night to you, Mr. Andre Donald.
Give you the rights to take.
Good night to the entire Real FM family.
So much emphasis on common sense. But
my good friend under the nutmeg tree.
Like that, tell them I say they brain
rushing through so fast today, and I nearly didn't see him, you know. He had to pull me.
Your brain, it has no limit. You could be a master of anything.
So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Talking Points is on. And I just want to congratulate each and every one of you who came out yesterday evening to yesterday's activity. Is what you want. That urgent meeting of the new National Party. I yet have a lot of people frightened by what afraid for.
Qualification is what you must have. Child, make sure you're bright, and you could be a second.
There are quite a lot of them out there who were saying all sorts of things, and when they saw the turnout yesterday, you all scared them, eh?
And you could be.
And the energy was there, eh?
Just like Nelson Mandela. Education is what.
I myself, as you could tell from my voice a bit, and every now and again you might hear me sniffle.
The country, just like Owen Arthur.
The flu has a real hold on me.
That is called the CSME. It's about qualified foreigners.
I don't know what they call this one, the IV. I think they call this one the I don't know. I think this IV they call this one.
To excel
either the Beryl or the IV, I don't know.
Settle for CXC alone, get a university degree. Because your parents spend so much money some of them borrow. For you to get education to lift your nose out from the ghetto.
Right now, no matter what I use, I ended up like the folks up there in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. No relief.
Grenada needs some more science. Education is what you want. Children don't.
Good night to you, Mr. Adrian. What's you and your lovely wife? Hope everything is going all well and okay.
Qualification, I beg you to have.
All of you joining us on the Facebook, we hope that you all had a wonderful night. Yeah, you're having a wonderful night tonight. You had a wonderful one last night. Yeah?
Share with your community.
Again, Fred, so far, see one of the MPs jump online.
King Selassie,
and he's trying to pull a Trump, you know, Trump is the one that's talk about crowd size and that kind of thing, and who had the bigger crowd and who had the bigger this and the bigger that. So I see the MP for the South put up posts and you take it down.
Yes, man. Yes.
He threw up posts and thing about who had bigger crowd when he had a community meeting.
I want to have.
But he threw up pictures from when he in the Trade Center Annex while the new National Party was in the hall itself. It wasn't in the annex, you know, yeah.
You need to have.
Don't realize the amount of people that was coming. You couldn't go in the annex, you had to go in the main building, yeah.
Just like George Prime.
And you all were able to make sure and full the main hall. That was wonderful, eh?
Oh, you could be intelligent, just like Gregory Bowen.
Don't worry, they won't leave you hanging. There are other activities coming up soon. You'll be getting some more information in relation to them. And imagine, we did not advertise Sunday's activity on Talking Points or any of the programs. You didn't hear it until probably Friday, and then whenever on Sunday you heard a bit about it, but we didn't advertise because we still weren't sure of the activity when we were on air on Thursday night, so we weren't able to do that. Yeah, but it's wonderful to see the turnout, those of you that came out, and the energy. Yeah,
Martin Luther King, you could show.
they're telling you the thing start, nice.
Education is what you must get. Please don't be a fool, cause I want you to be an intellect, just like Hollis Liverpool. There is a saying, educated people just might end up a fool.
So today's back to school, huh?
Rights to think.
So we're gonna have to go to school tonight. Yeah, we have to go to school tonight. I'm telling you all. Oops, that's what's going on here. Right, we're going to school tonight.
Them I say their brain will become
So
extinct.
we're gonna come to the phone lines in a while. I ain't opening the phone lines quite yet,
It has no limit. You could be a master
Or we're gonna come to the phone lines in a while.
as you study it. Never settle for
Good
second.
night to you, Joyce.
To reach your peak.
Good night to all the listeners via We Know It's Radio 94.9 out there in Brooklyn. Good night to you, Wade. Good night to all your listeners.
Is what you want. Get some.
Those of you that are not so tired from Labor Day that you're sleeping, yeah.
You and just like Kofi Annan. Qualification is what you must have.
All you was behind the truck, eh? Nice.
And you could be a secretary of
Doing next year, we put in a big Talking Point sign at the back of the Grenada truck, eh?
is what you need to take you further. And you could become a great president, just like Nelson Mandela. Educated
So I can't go through the roll call tonight. You'll go through roll call tomorrow night, man.
leader. And you could be running a country, just like Owen Hart.
I ain't 100%. I try nothing.
Project that is called the CSME. It's about qualified foreigners coming and working in your country. So I tell you, it is important to excel academically. Don't settle for CXC alone, get a university degree. Because your parents spend so much money some of them borrow for you to get education to live you.
Yes, indeed, folks. Hey, and let me let you all know about this one. Let me see here. Let me bring it on split screen so you all can see what I'm speaking about. Yeah, the Concacaf Nations League. Yeah. So that's over this weekend. We have games that ought to be taking place at the Karani James Athletic Stadium. Yeah. On the 6th. The 6th is when? The 6th is Friday. Yeah. So there's supposed to be St. Lucia versus Curacao, Grenada versus St. Martin. And then on September 9th, I believe that's Monday, you're supposed to have Curacao versus St. Martin, Grenada versus St. Lucia. And those are both scheduled for the Karani James Athletic Stadium. And they are scheduled there for this weekend. Nice, yeah, they are scheduled there for this weekend.
Qualification, I want you have. Make sure that you pass. You could be the opposition leader, just like Tillman Thomas. Good meditation you need to have. Don't go on the black and lime, cause I want you to be an upright attorney, just like George Prime. Education.
So let me tell you all something now. Now, that is supposed to be taking place this weekend, right? Yeah, that is supposed to be taking place this weekend. What's the state of the field? What's the state of the field? Yeah? This is the state of the field that they expect that Concacaf wouldn't either cancel a match and fine Grenada for, because it has happened to us before. And if this is the state of the field, we may very well end up in the same situation again, because you see, you have all kind of crunk and things still. Go and fix the field. Go and fix it. Yeah? Because you all knew that there was football due to be in Grenada within the first 2 weeks of September. You all knew that there were Concacaf matches coming here. And Grenada can end up being sanctioned. In other words, the Grenada Football Association can very well end up having to pay. So you see, piece of bottle they pick up there just now. Well, crunk and thing, way missing thing, all sorts of things. So as soon as the carnival was finished, what they ought to have done is go and clear the field. That is what they were supposed to do. Go and clear the field as soon as the carnival was done. But instead, watch, there's the state of the field that those CONCACAF matches we were just talking about, This is the state of the field that they have to go and play on. Well, are supposed to play on, but I'm pretty sure, I am nearly 100% sure that on inspection, that playing field on inspection will be failed. And that's the Karani James Athletic and Football Stadium. Yeah? Where that match ought to be taking place. Yeah? That is where the match is supposed to be taking place. And that is the kind of thing. That, look, watch the state of the field. Watch the state of the field. That is what that is the playing field that's supposed. They are going to have to inspect the field, and once it ends up in a situation where that field is failed, number one, you won't be having the matches here in Grenada, and secondly, you will end up in a situation where the Grenada Football Association ends up being fined. Yeah? They will be fined. They will be fined. Come on, man. They knew that you were having the activities there. They knew that you have to have the football there. So some sort of remedial work ought to have taken place. Let me just stop this here. Ought to have taken place. Some sort of remedial work ought to have taken place immediately on the ending of Carnival. If you say, okay, that's the facility we have and you want to utilize it and so, at least some remedial work should have taken place on the playing field immediately as the Carnival done. In fact, the same week as Carnival done, by the Wednesday, you get the service providers to remove what they have to remove and so, and then you start the work at the watering at the field. You use the equipment that is supposed to be there to identify if there are any foreign objects on the field. Because there's equipment for that, to identify if there's broken bottle and so on. At least there was. I don't know if it's still there. But there's equipment to identify if there are bottles and that, like break bottle, a bottle break and you have splinters and so in the field. There's equipment to identify that. At least there was equipment at the National Stadium to identify that so that those things could be removed and so. And then you go through the irrigation process and whatever else needs to be done to ensure that you have a nice, level, safe playing field for the footballers to play on this weekend. But if all you don't rectify that, and I don't know how you're fixing it between now and then, but if all you ain't fix that between now and the weekend, Grenada will be embarrassed. Right? I said what I said because it's only the truth. Yeah? Nice.
Qualification is what you need if you must excel, and you could be a great mathematician just like Dr. Kit Mitchell.
So as we say, back to school. So that's the physical education here.
And you could be a woman.
Also, there continues to be this issue. A few folks have been speaking to me. One individual who has a grouping in the countryside area. I won't say exactly where, but to the north of the island. These individuals usually have an activity where they pay $300 to utilize a playing field. And it's not a personal thing. It's a community group. And they usually would pay the Ministry of Sports $300 to utilize the facility. And then, of course, they would clean up and make sure everything is okay and all of that. Now the ministry is telling them they have to pay $3,500. So it has moved from $300. And they showed evidence, It has moved from $300 up to $3,500. I won't show the document because then they're going to know exactly. But that's what it has moved to utilize, just to use a playing field as a community group for an activity. You have another group that usually, I think they used to pay what? It was $200, somewhere between $250 and $500, somewhere in that range, to utilize a playing field for a cricket competition, try and make a little money and so that they put back into the community. In their instance, it ended up what? $2,500 or was it $2,500? I think, yeah. That it ended up at. So you have this massive jump taking place when it comes to the playing fields around the island. When it comes to the playing fields around the island, all of a sudden there's this massive jump in how much the ministry is charging for people to be able to utilize it. All I have to say is, Olio, fix it. Seriously, fix it.
that you're going out into would be your greatest teacher. There is no time now to be reluctant. Everything child is computer. Always aim for the sky, work hard, think about your future. Because I want all you to be qualified with an intellectual power. Child education is
Yeah, so the first day at school, we're doing physical education, yeah.
and you never know you could be an esteemed lawyer like Peter DeVille. Qualification is what you need if you must excel. And you could be a great mathematician just like Dr. Kit Mitchell. Inspiration is what you need. Children must prepare. And you could be a woman rising in parliament like Miss Emlyn Pierre. Education is what you want, but it comes with hard work.
Let's go to business studies now, yeah? We're going to business studies. Yeah, business studies. Unfortunately, we got some information today that Carriacou, yeah, you all know Carriacou. That is the subsidiary of the Renegade Rum Factory. Now, you have the Renegade Rum Factory. And in order to produce the rum for the, to produce the cane itself, to produce the baseline, for them to make the alcohol, they created a secondary company called Carriacou. And there were several people working with that tonight on the news. I was hearing about the Bank and General Workers Union representing about 20 of those workers. There were some that represented by TAU. I don't know if there are others who have no union representation. But the information that we got is that Carriacou is going to be closed. In fact, the note that I saw came out said Carriacou was established in 2016 as part of the Renegade Rum Group for the purpose of growing and delivering sugarcane to the Renegade Rum Distillery Limited at Conference in St. Andrew. From small beginnings, the company has grown to achieve an exceptionally high standard of sugarcane production over an area of 300 acres along the east coast of Grenada, bearing testament to the hard work and dedication of its employees. The Renegade Rum Distillery Limited is being sold, and as a result, Carriacou Limited is no longer required to provide sugarcane for its operations. So it is being wound down with effect from the 1st of September, that is yesterday, 2024. All employees of Carriacou Limited are being made redundant. All, they ain't keeping none. It no Carriacou again, so it are no employees. Right? Are being made redundant and will be fully compensated for their service to the company. The management of Renegade Rum Group extends its heartfelt thanks and appreciation to all of Carriacou Limited's employees and wishes them every success for the future. So I saw that a little earlier, yeah, from Carriacou. So they've closed that company. I don't know what is going to take place now because I know they have quite a bit of agricultural equipment. In my mind, would have been the perfect time if we had either a marketing and national importing board, Mr. Prime Minister, that you promised that we would have since June. In my mind, it would have been the perfect opportunity for a marketing and national importing board to step in and to take over certain aspects of what Carriacou has. Because they have tractors, they have excavators, they have a lot of equipment, agricultural equipment. So even if, and remember, I understand clearly that they are a private entity. Yeah, but you're trying to create marketing and national importing board into a public-private partnership. So all of the lands that they have the cane growing on now, that they will not need the cane again, those lands, instead of reverting to bush, high bush, or those lands end up in a situation where the owners, because I don't think all of the land is owned by Carriacou, I know they were leasing quite a bit of the land, those lands reverting to the original owners and so on, if it's going to end up in house spot, so you lose agricultural land to house spot because Carriacou develop roads and so to get in and out of some of those areas. So if you had a marketing and national importing board that could have stepped in now and be able to utilize those lands for agricultural purposes, for short crop, and then you plant the longer term crops like the soursop and so, and those different things, so you increase the amount of soursop and so we have producing. And if you want to put peas and banana or whatever, and do you do that? So at least that we increase production locally and drive the average cost of some of the food stuff that you get in the market and supermarket down. But we are no Marketing and National Importing Board, and the Prime Minister is playing disappearing acts when it comes to the issue of Marketing and National Importing Board. So he cannot give us a clear indication of when. He has been saying for the first part of this year and the ending of last year, he has been saying that come June 2024, we will see the new Marketing and National Importing Board. June well gone, July go to, and so has just August. And we still are not hearing anything in relation to that. So, Kenco is going now. The workers are going home. The unions are saying that they actually heard about this from the media when the media contacted them to tell them, well, Kenco is closing down. So some of them had to rush now to try and contact the people who are in charge of Kenco to find out what's going on. So now you're ending up with a bunch of people who are unemployed. And the company is wrapping up. They have a set of agricultural equipment and so on. Real good agricultural equipment. And you're wondering what's going to take place with that. If government has enough sense, if they're going to listen to us tonight, if they have enough sense to know that they should step in. Not necessary to say go and take Kenco and say you go and you work a deal and you take over Kenco and you start to plant cane again. No. But there are many other crops that can be planted. You have the nutmeg farmers that are going through hell right now. They've lost significant numbers of the trees. And now you have a workforce and equipment that are basically, as far as I could see, going on the market. That if you had a sensible government that wasn't studied to see how they could pocket the money for themselves, would know to utilize that money now, get involved with Kenco in a public-private partnership, even if you change the name or whatever, and utilize those equipment to improve the agricultural sector here in Grenada. But that is wishful thinking, because we know the individuals that we have there, they ain't had them kind of sense and them kind of ideas and things. We had to tell them. But now that we say it, they go say, no, the idea come from the new National Party and sheldon, and they ain't going with that. No.
Mathematician, just like Dr. Kit Mitchell. Inspiration is what you need. Children must prepare, and you could be a woman rising in parliament like Miss Emlyn Pierre. Education is what you want, but it comes with hard work. But you could be an economist, I tell you, just like Nazim Buck. When I was a young boy, I never liked going to school.
So once again, yeah, business studies right now. That's business studies and agriculture. We get them. We're going through subjects today. So that business studies / agriculture, yeah.
Troublemaker and say that I will not graduate. When I heard these things, I got so.
And I've got a question. I've got a question for the Minister of National Security.
Every exam I pass. When was graduation?
Mr. Minister of National Security,
class, and the teachers all gave me such wonder.
I've been reliably informed that another prisoner has escaped from the South St. George police station over the weekend.
With no fear.
Yes, very reliably informed so.
Poet just like William Shakespeare.
That a prisoner who was housed at the South St. George police station, yes, the same South St. George police station, has escaped, yeah?
Inspiration is what you need.
So, Mr. Commissioner of Police,
Luther King, you could shout, I have a dream. Educate.
Mr. Minister of National Security, tell me a lie.
Fool, cause I want you to be an intellect, just like Hollis Liverpool. There is a saying, educated people just might end up a fool. But that must not give you the rights to think. You should not go to school. So much emphasis.
Okay, I'm seeing a note by somebody, Kenco and Renegade is one and the same owner, and the new owner would still need the cane. No, that is not so. They have been very clear that they have sold Renegade and that Kenco is being closed down. The new owner does not need the cane, no.
Never said.
They could do as some other companies. They could bring the molasses up from Guyana and so on. That's what some companies do. So they know they don't necessarily need the cane. That's not so, no. But they have been very specific that they are closing down Kenco. Yes, we know it's the same owner. One is a subsidiary of the other, but they are closing down Kenco. Just to make that clear, because I saw someone kind of confused there a bit. So just clarifying for you, my brother.
Inspiration is what you need.
But anyway, back to national security right now. What we dealing with now? Where we pass business studies and so for now. Which one will you categorize this one as right now? But anyhow, so Mr. Commissioner of Police and Mr. Minister of National Security, advisor in the Ministry of National Security, all you. Yeah? Can you all confirm that another prisoner has escaped from the South St. George police station over the weekend? Yeah?
Much money some of them borrow for you to get education to lift your nose out from the ghetto.
And if all you don't want to confirm, well,
Maths and learn you English, get a distinction in chemistry. Grenada needs some more scientists. Education is what you want. Children don't rebel, yes, cause you could be a master inventor, just like Alexander Bell. Qualification I beg you to have. Do not waste your time, cause I bet you.
We know what's happened the last time. And I'm saying this, whether it's a dangerous or not dangerous, whatever you want to say. But there is a problem. You just ended up on the world stage because of prisoners who were kept at South St. George, escaped, and we know what they did. You had prisoners that escaped from that same South St. George. And we all know, we all remember what those individuals did. So if you still have a problem there, then you have to identify what the problem is. Because you all had the people who were there, you all had big press conference, and you say, well, who was on duty and thing? They are suspended, so I don't expect it's the same people there for it to be happening. So is it that it's a staff problem? Is it a problem with the facility itself? Is it a problem with the way that you all go about doing things? Is there a problem with how you all go about keeping prisoners at that facility? Is that a problem? Is there a problem there? Well, at least you have to come out and tell the Grenadian people something, because we're hearing again, and that ain't sounding nice at all, brother. That ain't sounding nice at all. Believe me, that ain't sounding nice. No.
Education is the key to success. I want you to understand that the most important part of education is academics. Yes, man. Whoa.
Really, what is the procedure? Are you all just chaining people to railings? That is what you all doing? You all actually putting them in a cell, you're chaining them to a railing, you're putting them to sit on bed. What is the problem? You all have a problem at South St. George. There is a problem there. And it has to be identified before we find ourselves in danger. Because you could end up in a situation where it is people like-minded to those who commandeered a boat earlier this year and end up causing the life of 2 people. 2 people lost their lives. And you telling me after that happened, just a few months later, you have people escaping from that prison, that facility again? Come on, man. You all have to get serious, man. Something has to be wrong with the facility. I'm not blaming the police officers necessarily, you know. Not necessarily. Because if you had one set and you say, well, them was the blame and not the facility, and you have who on suspension and all kind of thing, and then the same thing come and happen again, then what you going to say? Is the next set of officers again? Or is there something wrong with the facility? Come on, man. Yeah, you all have to...
And my friends all thought it was cool. You know what? I was a role model. What I did, my friends emulate. Some call me a troublemaker and say that I will not graduate. When I heard...
Come on, man, again.
Decided to clean up my act. I grabbed my school book and study. Every exam, you know, I pass. When was graduation? I graduated, top of the class, and the teachers all gave me such wonderful and complimentary remarks. Education.
I'm to see a coffin too. Where's the Minister of Health, by the way? Anybody saw him? Last time I saw him, he was in Parliament trying to talk for people, and we want to hear your talk. We want to hear come out and tell people what's going on with the different things that, yeah, that's what we want to hear.
Be preaching philosophy like my Cosmos Garvey's inspiration.
And again, we at Talking Points continue to call for an independent investigation into the infant deaths that have been taking place at the General Hospital facility. An independent investigation, because you cannot write a press release to tell us that you are investigating, but you all have reviewed what took place already and everything was okay, your people did everything, you have already come to a conclusion. Yeah? You all have, it's like somebody about to write an exam and you already hand them the certificate saying that they've gotten an A+ before the exam even right. Because you all already come out and say, well, all you do everything, so what sense is an investigation in that sense? And then how is the general public, how is anybody with sense supposed to trust an investigation when you've already given findings at the beginning of the investigation? You haven't completed it, but you've already said that all you ain't do nothing wrong. Yeah, it may very well be so. Don't get me wrong. It may very well be so that you all ain't do nothing wrong. But when you come out and you say to the Grenadian people, even before, without an independent investigation, there still lingers in the mind of anybody with a modicum of common sense that something is wrong. Yeah? It lingers.
That is called the CSME. It's about qualified foreigners coming.
So we're hearing as well that South St. George, there's some issues, boy. Yeah. Well, police officers in general, you know, because I'm hearing some horror stories out there. I'm hearing horror stories about the conditions of the police at the SSU camp in the south of the island. I'm hearing that officers had to sleep head to foot. Who had to sleep? Boy, your partner foot better be smelling good because you're sleeping basically head to foot like if you're on a slave ship crossing the Atlantic. That is how they have them sleeping down at SSU barracks. Mosquito. Let me put it in colloquial. Moxito. Moxito in the tail long day. Yeah, all sorts of issues that they are facing down at the SSU. And these are still the people that we call on when there is something major. Even some minor things, but these are the people that we call on when there's a serious emergency. When somebody giving some kind of trouble that you need that special service, you're calling on the SSU. Yet still, when you hear of the conditions that they're in down there, when you hear of the conditions of the officers down at the Coast Guard base right now, and don't try to say, oh, it was this government, that government. You had a fire just before the NNP leave. You had a fire down there. But you all have done nothing really to correct in a significant way the problems that pre-existed at the Coast Guard base and what have developed since you all have been there. Nothing. Only mouth champion. Just talk. No, you're all basically telling the negotiating unit for the police officers. You're telling them that they cannot discuss the issue of pay and grade right now. Put that aside. You all negotiating, I think the salaries you all negotiating now. So now they cannot negotiate when it comes to the issue of pay and grade. Leave the issue of pay and grade alone, man. Don't touch that for now. Yeah? You all the same people who stand up on the platform and make all kind of promises to the police officers. And now you all, in the same way that today, we heard the Public Workers Union, you know. I heard the Public Workers Union had a press conference this morning. And they are very concerned. But we'll come back to the Public Workers Union in a while. But police officers are facing a serious situation right now. You have them with gear that has neared the end of life. Let me explain something to you all. You, Mr. Minister of National Security, your advisor. A bulletproof vest has a life of 5 years. 5. Which means every 5 years, the fibers that make up that bulletproof vest start to fall apart. They degrade to a point that in utilizing said vest, after 5 years, you are endangering the life of the person wearing it because it does not have its normal structural integrity after that period of time. Yeah? So unless it's Mr. Nimrod Olivier had to come and get some vest and thing again, if only want some vest and only want Nimrod Olivier, get some vest for all you. Just say so. And no names, he go help. Nimrod, give me a call. Nimrod, go help. If you need to get some vest and thing, just say so. But don't endanger the lives of the police officers, especially when you all see what you're picking up out there now, you see you're picking up increasing numbers of arms and ammunition out there, and the kind of arms and ammunition that you are encountering out there. So since that is the case, make sure that the police officers say they're demoralized. They are demoralized. You have officers who are there right now and they have performed excellent. When you check the grades, when they're doing their grading and so on, these people have scored some of the highest. But when come time for promotion, simply because these people are perceived to be supporters of the new National Party. I'm saying it as it is, because that is a fact. Because they are perceived to be supporters of the new National Party, these people could forget any form of upgrade. They could forget any form of getting a rank. It's like stripe no good for you once you are perceived to be a supporter of the new National Party. Worse yet, if you are related to, have worked with, or are seen with any member of the former government, you could forget it. No promotion for you. Total victimization. So you're victimizing some of the hard-working people within the Royal Grenada Police Force. You're speaking about things like, oh, the NNP used to bring back retirees, but look, you just bring back a set of retirees again. We ain't get to that yet, you know. I ain't feel we will go there tonight, but you all bring back a set of retirees the other day again. Yeah? And they're talking about succession planning and all kind of thing within the Royal Grenada Police Force. What you all are doing is destroying, demoralizing, and destabilizing the security apparatus within this country. Yeah? That is what is taking place right now. Folks, we go open the phone lines. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get on the inside. Yeah, sorry, that's my team song tonight, you know, yeah.
Never like going to school. Somehow I felt that I knew it all, and my friends all thought it was cool. You know what? I was a role model. What I did, my friends emulate. Some call me a troublemaker and say that I will not graduate. When I heard these things, I got so frightened. Decided to clean up my act. I grabbed the school book and study. Every exam, you know, I pass. When was graduation? I graduated, top of the class, and the teachers all gave me such wonderful.
You know, I want to get into history too tonight, eh? And as I said, the phone lines are open, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. I was listening to the Senate on Friday. I was listening to the Senate. And my, oh my, oh my. I was listening to the Attorney General. What she does call herself? The authentic tongue girl? Yeah, the one who does dance and skank and, yeah. Speaking in the parliament of the country. Speaking a lot of untruths. And you know what my problem is, now that they have gone into the parliament and they have said these things which are untrue, what is going to happen is that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 300 years from now, those things have not been stricken from the record. They are there. So whether it's students or somebody doing their doctoral dissertation, whatever it is, next year, those words are there on the Hansard, and they have been spoken as though they are truth when they are not. So when the Attorney General makes the statement that the former Prime Minister during Hurricane Ivan went out on some cruise ship to weather the storm, that is not true. That, in fact, I wonder if we could listen part of what she said. I think we could listen part of what she said. I can't listen the whole thing. I'm telling all of that from now. I cannot listen the whole thing.
It seems to me that coming out of Hurricane Beryl, there are some who would like to rewrite history and present alternative facts. Madam President, I think the chance to do that is being taken because a calculation is made that either one, many of us who did experience Hurricane Ivan and its aftermath have forgotten. And then the majority of the others, our youthful population, close to 60%, was simply too young to remember or were not yet born. So, Madam President, I will take a few minutes as a former history teacher to rectify and correct the record. Hurricane Ivan was a Category 3 hurricane that struck Grenada on 7th February 2004. Sorry, 7 September 2004. Yes. 7th, yes, there are some good students here, quick to correct. September 7th, 2004, at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And, Madam President, the current leader of the opposition was Prime Minister at the time. He led a government with a 1-seat majority in the Parliament. Honorable Tillman Thomas was the leader of the opposition, having 7 of the seats in the Parliament at the time. And Hurricane Ivan struck just over 1 year after an election. So while most of the members of the opposition in the lower house were new to the Parliament, many on the government side were not new because they had just come from a full majority, a super majority in the lower house, having won the 1999 elections 15-0. When Hurricane Ivan struck, one of the first things, well, initially in the early hours following Hurricane Ivan and up to the following day, we the people did not know where our leader was. We didn't.
Now, let me just point out something here that anybody with common sense would know. This individual is speaking about 20 years ago. Now, you hear all the preamble and nonsense they speak about they were a history teacher and people trying to bamboozle people because they know that the young people would know. Yes, the young people would not know that what you are saying is a lie. And you're mixing in some truth inside there, but you're lying. Because when you're saying that Grenadians did not know where their leader was, this is the year 2024. And if you have to compare the year 2024 to the year 2004, understand something. The vast majority of people in the state of Grenada did not own or have access to a mobile device in the year 2004. If you were a business person, if you were somebody involved in some sort of business and so, or you had the financial means to be able to do that, then you had a mobile phone. Mobile phones, I should have really walked with mine that I used actually to call my father right after the hurricane finished. I still have the phone. Yeah? In 2004, your mobile phone could do only 2 things. You could make 3. You could have made a phone call, made or received a phone call. You could have sent or received a text message. And the third thing you could have do was play Snake. All who had the Nokia know about playing Snake on your phone. That was all that you could have done on your mobile phone in those days. There was no internet on your phone like there is now. So the means of getting to people, the means of getting your information out to people was via the radio. Terrestrial radio. As I sometimes say terrestrial radio, that means when a radio station have the antenna somewhere up on the mountainside and it beaming, we'll come to the phone lines in a while. You come to you beam to people and they have the transistor radio and they listen. In 2004, that and terrestrial television. You had cable TV, yes, but terrestrial television. There are many parts of the country at that time didn't have cable TV. So you either listen to the radio or you think TV, or then you wait for the newspapers that came out on a Friday. That is how information was spread in the year 2004. Let me educate the young people that are out there. Some of them don't know what a phone booth is. They're watching a phone booth right now if they happen to see one and they're wondering what that is. Because they don't know what a phone booth is. So when she makes the statement that people didn't know, at the point in time that Hurricane Ivan passed, a Category 3, every single radio station on the island of Grenada went down. All. And they were not the amount of radio stations that they are now. You had WeFM, you had GBN, Harbour Light of the Windwards was operating out of Carriacou. What else did you have? I'm not even sure if you had CRFM and those other stations yet. But you were limited in the number of radio stations that existed on the island at that point in time. All, to a man, every radio station get knocked down. How are you, the leaders of the country at that point in time? And remember, we're not talking the island of Carriacou, which is a small island. You could try and get around with loudspeakers. And you're talking about the whole of Grenada. How are you to get messages out to the people of Grenada? Secondly, your electrical network went down. Some people didn't even get back electricity until the middle of 2005 is when some people were able to get back electricity, and that was with the Cubans here working, with the St. Lucians here working, with the Trinidadians here working. And you still didn't get back electricity in some areas until 2005 is when some people got back electricity. So when you're making the statement that immediately after the hurricane, people did not know where their leader was, you have to qualify your statement, because what you are doing is trying to misinform and dumbify. You're trying to make them stupid, the young people that are out there. Because the more stupid that you and your crew could get them, you can manipulate them. Explain to them. Every single radio station went down in this state of Grenada. We're just a few days away from the 20th anniversary of that. 20 years ago. There was not a single mobile phone that had internet capability on this island at that point in time. In fact, maybe it had in Europe. They were just playing around with it, just coming around with it. But it did not exist in the state of Grenada. In fact, the vast majority of people on this island, to contact them, you had to call a house phone. If you get them, you get them. If you don't get them, leave a message. Was landline. When Ivan passed and the landlines went down, most people did not bother to put back in the landline. They found themselves down at Cable and Wireless, and they went and they get a mobile unit, and that is what they started to use. And in most people's cases, they said, I ain't bothering to put back in no house phone. House phone, it makes sense. So if you check the graph, and it's available on Ectel website, it is available on Ectel's website. If you check the website there, you would realize that before 2004, you didn't have the amount of mobile density in Grenada that you had come 2004 and after. Because between Hurricane Ivan and December, the amount of people that rushed down, you remember the long line of people down in Mount Hartman to buy a phone? That they want to remind you, they want to make it look like if Dr. Mitchell run. Now, when the hurricane was coming, Dr. Mitchell was at Mount Royal, understanding that Mount Royal does leak when you have normal rain. Dr. Mitchell left and he went to where? Happy Hill. And there are people who were there in Happy Hill. One all you should call. Who was there in Happy Hill, because some people stayed in Dr. Mitchell's house. So it have people who know that he was not no battleship. I didn't even feel like playing the rest. But it have people that know that he wasn't on no battleship when Hurricane Ivan passed. He wasn't out on no battleship. He went on the battleship after the hurricane for the same reason that I just explained to you all. Now you had a situation, right? You had a situation where the then president of the United States, and he explained it last night, you know. The president at that time was George Bush Jr. He was trying to reach him. The British government was trying to reach him. The Canadian government was trying to reach him. Other regional prime ministers, understanding that Grenada take a serious hit, the country wipe out, were trying to reach him. And in order to get in contact with him, he had to go on the battleship to make the call. That was after the hurricane, not during the hurricane. Well, you must stop lie. You see this liaismus attitude that these individuals have? They need to stop it. They need to stop that. Because this lie has now gone down in the record of our country. She lie. There's listen, there are people who living in Happy Hill right now who spend Hurricane Ivan when everything mashing up in Dr. Mitchell's house with Dr. Mitchell. So for them to come and lie like this, and the thing is, they're lying on things. For instance, she was making a statement about remember after Hurricane Ivan, there was talk of coup and different things. And she is trying to say, she was saying that Dr. Mitchell went down to Trinidad right after the hurricane, and he was the one that go and start to talk about coup and telling them that the then opposition wanted to stage a coup against him. No! In fact, let me tell you who was the person that brought up the talk about coup. Let me just play it for you because you may not know. This dates back to things about July 2005.
The hurricane in Grenada, the very distinguished leader of the opposition of Grenada and a delegation headed by him came to Trinidad, and I saw them at their request. I took the opportunity to reassure them that our presence in Grenada does not mean, and in fact, we had no intention of interfering in the internal affairs of Grenada. However, we had 231 troops there. And at that time, there was much talk about coup and counter-coup and overthrow of government and so on. And we told them that it would have been very difficult for us, with 231 troops in Grenada, to sit idly by and watch a democratically elected government replaced by undemocratic means.
So who went down Trinidad and see Mr. Manning and was talk about coup and all kind of thing? Was not Dr. Mitchell. Mr. Manning himself tell Grenadian people that, you know what, let's start to take some of the calls. Let's take some of the calls. I see people calling. Hello, good night. Hello.
Yes, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, first time I'm calling the program. I've been always listening. It's your partner, but I will only see face to face I'll identify.
Okay.
Let me clear up this thing about Dr. Mitchell and this being on that cruise ship. My wife was in hospital, right? When she went there to make my daughter. After Ivan crashed out the place, I decided to go down to the hospital. I drove my vehicle and I got to Marigot. I couldn't go any further. I went down into the river and come up on the side where the bus came down where the big stone came down on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I walked from there to the general hospital. On my way, I met Dr. Mitchell just after I passed Posterior, so I come up the hill and you going down the other hill on the other side towards Brizan.
Mm-hmm.
Towards Brizan. But there was a lot of debris. So I had to climb over the debris and come down on the other side. When I came down on the other side, who I met standing there was Dr. Mitchell. Right? That's the day after the hurricane. So I asked Dr. Mitchell, I said, well, what you doing here? He said, well, where you going? You come out all the way and said, Mark, where you going? I said, well, my wife has our baby, and I am anxious to see what happened. He told me that with the house where you're staying, the Prime Minister's office house was damaged. And he came up because he has to go to a meeting with some people from Trinidad. They came up to meet him on a ship. But he has to go home to see if he could get some clothes. But the place is so devastated, he had to make a little drive just to see the extent of the damages before he could, prepare himself. And knowing Dr. Mitchell, he's a man of great composure. But that day, he was distraught. All right? So he took me up in the car, me and my other partner. May he so rest in peace now, he passed away. And he told us, well, take a little ride. I have to go back to Happy Hill to get some clothes. When we got to the gap where he is living down in Happy Hill there, the security men came from St. George's, 2 cars. And they said to him, Dr. Mitchell, the people are here from Trinidad. They come to have the meeting. He said, well, boy, I got to put you down here. Because you see what happened. Dr. Mitchell dropped me off. Just low down with the hood. Brothers used to live there. And he went to his mother's home, looking for clothes to go on the ship to meet with the Trinidad delegation. So this thing about Dr. Mitchell being on ship is a blatant lie. I am telling you that firsthand because what I'm telling you here is exactly what happened. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Yeah, telling you. Well, let's see. Let's go to the phone line again. Oh, hello, good evening. Okay. Okay, we lost that one. Let's see the other line. Hello, good night.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night. Yes, caller, you're live. Go right ahead.
How are you, Sheldon?
Hey, I'm quite fine, man.
Listen, I mean, it's a shame that we have to play these clips to listen to these people. But Claudette knows that she's lying. The fact that she has to justify by starting, I was a history teacher and this and But Sheldon, the point I want to make, if you have to go back to a hurricane that happened 20 years ago to compare and to justify your actions in 2024. So we take in 2004 and compare it to 2024. Then it tells me that this administration and this government has outlived the usefulness. I think in the words of Dr. Keith Rowley, it says that if you have to justify what you do today based on what the opposition did many years ago, then it clearly shows you have outlived your youthfulness, and maybe the best thing that this administration could do is to call the election and put the mandate back to the people, let the people decide, because it's getting to the point now, it's pure buffoonery. The Hurricane Beryl destroyed Carriacou and P.T. Martinique significantly and affected parts of Grenada. And we don't care what happened 20 years ago. We don't care about that. We care that school opened in mainland Grenada today, and yet the students in Carriacou does not know when they're going back to school. That's what Claudette needs to come and tell us about, right? In any event, when there's a major catastrophe, one of the first things you do is to secure your leader. So whether or not, we know it's a lie, but whether or not the U.S. was here and they secured, the U.S. or the British, and they secured the leader of the country on the ship until we could figure out what's going on. What's the issue? What is the problem? Because at the end of the day, the leader has to lead. He needs the tools and the facilities to make decisions to help take care of whatever is the problem, right? There was no communication. Sheldon, I could tell you, I felt so relieved. One of the first calls I get, so the hurricane was on the 7th, I think on the 8th, after spending all evening, all night trying to get through to Grenada. one of the first calls I got from Grenada was from Wagiti. And I remember that conversation like it's there. I was standing right in front of the precinct. I was in the 71st precinct at the time. And I saw Wagi. I thought it was a prank because the call was coming in and it was a Grenada number. And I spoke to Wayne Redhead Wagiti for maybe about 5-10 minutes. Even though the call came through the reception, was still kind of spotty. And Wagiti was the first one to give me an insight as to what's happening in Grenada. I was not here for the Hurricane Ivan, so I cannot speak as if I was on island and so on. But we know, because I was in NYPD, we got the reports. The reports was coming in. We knew of the devastation. And as you rightly said before, communication 20 years ago was not what it is today. I was privy to a lot of satellite images and stuff, and that was coming in because of my job, right? So this whole talk about how would you go on a battleship and hide? First of all, listen, I spent 23 years in the Navy, right? And it would be suicide mission for any commander to order a ship to come into the eye of the storm. When a storm is pending, we go out to sea.
And you move away from the path of the storm. So what storm would I be here?
I'm telling you, we often say military, but specifically I was in the Navy, right? And if anyone has ever experienced a storm and sea in the Navy, I mean, I can tell you, right? It's not an easy thing to be in the eye of a storm. I have experienced it. I lived it, right? So no ship could have been in the port. Anything with a ship would have to be a day or two after the storm of the eye pass. So if the leader has to go on the ship to establish communication, I mean, but 20 years later, I mean, I guess it's true that if you repeat a lie enough times, people will believe, because she prefers the whole thing about the youth wouldn't know. But then you go in and make our youth dumb. Just do what's right.
But
why
listen
are we
to this,
spreading
though.
this false information to make our children dumber? If dumber is even a word.
But let me explain something to you, brother. Right.
I'm coming.
The member
Right?
of Parliament for Carriacou continues to make this dunce battleship statement as well. And I realize that the member of Parliament for St. George Northeast and several others, including the Prime Minister, continue to make this battleship statement. And they're doing it because they're trying to fool the younger population. The same thing she is claiming that the NNP is doing is what she's doing. Go ahead, my brother. We're hearing you. You go ahead.
They are doing it because, one, you are right, they're trying to fool the younger population. And to me, it's a lying contest between the members of the NDC. It's like, who can tell the biggest lie? Who can tell the most lie? Because there's people in that administration that knows the truth, but they choose to, I mean, you played the clip earlier on, right? Even the minister from Guav. I mean, you're going up there trying to justify, like, if my memory serves me right. Well, obviously, your memory is not doing you justice, because you're talking about something that 2015, and it took them 7 or 8 years to get into. But I am quite sure when the people from Chris came and was addressing the cabinet, she probably was sitting right there. And the gentleman clearly stated Chris was started in 2007 after the devastation that happened in 2004. But then you had the member from St. George Northeast repeated that lie a couple of weeks before, and so I guess the information was passed down and circled among them, and they believe it, knowing fully well that is not true. Because if you were sitting there and somebody tell you the thing started in 2007 and Grenada was there from inception, what's the meaning of inception? Right? But you're talking that you love young people. I have a serious problem. I care about young people. I care about children. I care about people educating themselves and making a better life for themselves. But we as adults have to be responsible. We cannot willfully give young people, young adults false information. We are not doing them any justice. They are the future of this country.
But the thing is, they keep lying.
Whether it's the upper house or the lower house, everybody seems to be. Let's try to make the opposition look bad. My God, this hurricane was in 2004. We are in 2024. I could care less. If you ask me what I had for breakfast yesterday, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care to know what I had for breakfast yesterday. We are focused on the future, but you are trying to justify your non-action by what happened 20. Sheldon, I sat and I listened. I heard Delma Thomas make a point, right? And we are in the business of calling names now because
brother, no, let me stop. Right? She didn't make a point. She make a fool of herself. That is what she make.
No, but
she didn't make no point. She make a fool of herself.
So much, Sheldon, is not so much her point, you know. Is the point that she said what she said, right? She said what she said, and the other members sat there and knocked that table. So are you justifying that people were seeing trouble for 10 or 15 years according to you? That was a glorious thing. So your actions today, right, is good because in your mind it was good that people saw trouble 10 or 15 years ago. I came to Grenada maybe 6 months or 7 months after Hurricane Ivan. And at that time, the recovery process was well on the way. It was well on the way. And I normally come to Grenada every year, 2 or 3 times a year. And I know, and you know, Sheldon, and the listening audience and the Grenadian public know there was no tarpaulin, and a very minimal tarpaulin. Let me don't say absolutely none. 10 to 15 years after, it just was not there.
Let me ask you now.
That was not built back.
Bro.
But there was no tarpaulin that was so prominent in Grenada 10 to 15 years after Hurricane Ivan.
But let me just tell you something there. Now, Samaritan Purse have done an excellent job. They give out a lot of tarpaulin in Carriacou and so on. You know, a lot of the tarpaulin do last up to this point in time. A lot of them mash up and so already. So which tarpaulin lasts in 15 years?
Again, Sheldon, I mean, listen, I mean, we all have to do a part. You hear members talking about you want the government to do this. Yes, it's part of the government responsibility to start doing things to get people well on the way. Sheldon, in 2012, I mean, I have to speak from experience, right? 2012, we experienced Hurricane Sandy in New York. My house was fully insured. I lost my roof during Hurricane Sandy in 2012. But you know what FEMA did? You know what the government did? They provided funds so that I could have put back my roof until the insurance settled the claim. I was fully insured. But FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, came in. That's a government industry, and they provided relief for homeowners. This is the big United States of America. And if you get the insurance money and you have other funds that were given to the government, you as a member of parliament standing there and, basically in sum and substance, you all have your all money, fix back all your house, you want the government to help. It is the government's responsibility to help the citizens of Grenada, because these are the citizens that voted to put you there so that you can govern them effectively.
They go come for the vote again, brother.
At junction now, we cannot stop calling out their lies. We have to call out the lies of the... And you see, I mean, I kind of get annoyed when I hear the tape because it makes me dumber listening to them because they make no sense. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but when you hear people standing there trying to sound educated and nothing they say makes sense, I just throw my hands up in the air. But I want to encourage you to continue bringing the truth and the light to the people. We, the citizens, we, the voters, have to hold this administration and this government accountable, and we have to continue pointing out and calling out the lies.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother. Yes, indeed. 440-737-734-732-933101. In case you all didn't record the voice there, that was my good brother Nimrod Olivier. Yeah, that's my good brother brethren D. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
Hey, good, my brother. Good, man.
All right, man.
Sheldon, there's something about this administration that makes me wonder. Sheldon, I don't know if we getting the extent of the corruption and the extent that they go, how far they go to cover it up, especially the lies. Sheldon, I'm using the word days. A few days ago, you was on your Facebook page claiming that the celebration committee was so corrupt and the nepotism, and you don't like nepotism, and you hate this and you hate that.
Wait, no, me, just clarify, it's not really me you're talking about.
No, not you, Sheldon. The people know who we're talking about, Sheldon. And just a few days, you was on your Facebook page preaching this kind of, you was so upset. But Sheldon, I go use it hours. A few hours after, you're a senator. Sheldon, something not right in this country. Look how far we go to cover up. Even to those whistleblowers, we go so far to control their mouth. You know, just do right in this country. These people, when you bring them guilty on the people who could expose them, they will even go as far to bribe these people to shut their mouth up. You know, a few days ago, Sheldon, this is why I always say, what I observe with the NDC, is like a cat making pups. Something don't right to these people. They are not making, that cat is not making kittens. It is produced, when you look, it is producing pups. Every time that cat give birth is pups he making. And something is wrong with the NDC. And if the young people of this country open their ears and their eyes and see that how corrupt is NDC. These people are not just corrupt. They are way, way corrupt. And they corrupt even with the statements and the lies they want to make to people. For instance, Claudette should be ashamed to go and act in this act she was acting. She knows she was lying. And boldly, she would look at the young minds to see how much she could grasp at the young minds with that lie. How would you apologize for such a lie? Because their mentality, Sheldon, is just to keep fooling the youths of this country for power. Not to educate this youth for development. They just want to fool the youth for power. Why would you make statements like that when you know it's a lie? What would it do to you that only to keep you in power? It wouldn't help develop Grenada. You wasn't educating the youth. You were lying for them. Because when history is written, it will show that you were lying. I really don't understand these people. These people is like a cat just continuing to make pups over and over. They cannot tell you the truth. They're arrogant. And then they will stand up in Parliament and say stupidness. It's a bunch of people. There's some, so I will say, dunce. They will stand up in Parliament and say a set of stupidness, and they cannot correct one another. That's the funny thing. They cannot correct one another. And I believe certain things that they discuss, discussing, like they sit as a team and discuss this thing. The nonsense Ron was talking, it seems like he sit in a team with them and discuss because Shireen come with the same nonsense. And then Delma come with trying to backing up the nonsense with a set of nonsense. And your brother just said something there. And Sheldon, you just said something there, Sheldon. How long a tarpaulin could last for? And how much years after Ivan was NAGMA and the government giving out tarpaulin? Sheldon, I was a housing officer, and I met houses that had tarpaulin. And most of the houses I met was disputed house, where families couldn't build it back because it didn't belong to them. Somebody was staying in somebody's house, and they write them a serious letter, tell them don't touch the house. But they were still there. I remember that very said woman make confusion about a house in River Road, saying these people and them and how the parliamentary representatives don't have no empathy, and she get on when she was the housing minister. Only to know them people that was them people shopping. And then people, after Ivan knocked it down, they didn't want to leave there because they were renting there. And they didn't want to leave there. It wasn't their building, so they could not have rebuilt it. They could not have accept material to rebuild that building, that shop, because it wasn't theirs. And she didn't ask a question. She was passing there. Every morning she passed down. And she looked at it. Instead of she stopped and go to the people and ask them a question. Instead of that, I at that time said to myself, this minister is dangerous to even she own government, because what she's helping to spread is propaganda. Because she didn't seek for the truth. She just started saying things without the facts. And today, we just see these people just continue to say things without the facts. And Sheldon, I could just, as I describe them, as a big cat making pop.
All right. Thank you very much, brother. 440-7377 347-329-3101. And I just realized I have the okay, right. I get it just in time. We've got a caller on the line. Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Hello.
Hi, good night, caller. You're live. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So all the noise they was making a couple months ago about students staying in school until the XYZ age, did it start already? Because school opened today. So what about all the students who supposed to go to the Form 6 and all that other stuff? I'm just asking. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay, brother. No, well, they've started that. But the thing is, they have, typical to this government, they implement something which may or may not be well-intentioned. May not be a good idea, but it could be well-intentioned. They've started something without putting in place the necessary structures to ensure that it is successful. So by the time you're saying that children who are under the age of 18 must be in school, I don't know when we end up in a communist country, but must be in school, by the time you're saying that, you have not yet set up the relevant structures to be able to absorb the numbers of young people who are out there who may want to go fully into a technical area, but they can't go to TAMCC, so they need to be able to go somewhere else or so. The structure to ensure that that happens has not been put in place. Yeah? It has not been put in place. Old time people, you know, when you go in and make ice cream with them old pail and them, and you have to throw in the ice and the salt and all them kind of thing, yeah, ice and salt, you're putting around the thing when you're turning, and you have to stay there and turn and all kind of thing. That is like you're going and make the ice cream and you have no ice. It will not work. You have to ensure that you put the structures in place, that you put in place all of the institutions that would be able to absorb all of the young people under that age. They have not done that. They have not done that. So you have to ensure that, listen, remember, we have here a Minister of Education. And if you listen to Senator Cox last night, you'd realize what a waste of time that we have as a Minister of Education. You have a Minister of Education who, with all the place and them mash up in Carriacou, what school ain't totally destroyed, seriously damaged? Which schools ain't seriously damaged, being used as hurricane shelters? You have in the north of the island, MacDonald College and other schools that were damaged in the north of the island. And with all of that happen, you go and take personal time and you go on for 3 weeks? You leave the island at a point in time like that, when you should be there as a captain in charge, leading your troops to get the work done, to get back the schools, and so at least have a plan of how you're going to, by a particular time, get back. Instead, you running up Carriacou. You come back on the 25th. So you're running up in Carriacou just a few days before when school's supposed to reopen to go and talk to who? To tell them what about education in Carriacou? You should be fired. Any prime minister worth his salt would have kicked you out the cabinet already. You had to go. You did come in and you did saying, listen, I would like to go, and I'm saying yes, go ahead. And when you're gonna fire you? Because you're supposed to know better than that. I ain't have to tell you that. You're supposed to know better. You can't treat the people at Carriacou and Petit Mat. You cannot treat the people at Grenada so, and you cannot treat the job itself so as Minister of Education. The Minister of Education needs to go. All right. Go right ahead, caller. You're live.
Sheldon Scott, good night. I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness. How are you tonight?
I am good, man.
Wonderful.
Just the call, you know, but I know.
Yes, I know. Hang in there.
We'll deal with that, yeah.
I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness of Grenada for the people of Carriacou and Petit Matnik. I need to say to the people of Carriacou and Petit Matnik, I am sorry. I am sorry. To you, the people of Carriacou and Petit Matnik, I need to say to you tonight, deep down in my heart, I am sorry. And the reason why I am taking this opportunity to say I am sorry, because you had the trust and the confidence to vote into office as it regards to representation, Mr. Andrew, Tevin Andrew. And Mr. Tevin Andrew had failed you very bad. He had turned his back upon you, the people of Carriacou and Petit Matnik. For that, I am saying, I'm sorry. Tevin Andrew was the man that drive right round Carriacou with a loudspeaker and saying to the people of Carriacou and Petit Matnik, don't worry, have faith, my government will rebuild your houses for you. He said the government that he is a part of will rebuild your house for you. And after just a short period of time, you, Tevin Andrew, who represent the people of Carriacou and Petit Matnik, turn back and tell them, all you have money in the bank, build back all your own house. You fail your people, young man. You fail them. In regards to representation, you fail them, Telvin. Elvin G. Nimrod is turning in the grave, young man. Because if Elvin Nimrod was alive today and he was in office, and such a destruction take place in Carriacou, and where $118 million was given 14 days after burial pass, Nimrod would have turned and tell Dr. Kit Mitchell, Carriacou must get the fiche Kakabawi for Kakabawi. Shame on you, that liquor boy, Tevin Andrew. You fail the teachers. You said to them, they're making noise. The salary is running. Supermarket open. Go and buy water. And you stand up in the House of Parliament and you deny that you say that. Carriacou people, I am sorry for what you all is going through. But I want to let you know the only government that is going to rebuild Carriacou and Petit Matnik is the NNP. And look out for Tevin Andrew. You're going to come back and ask these people for the vote. I am telling you, you finish. You abuse the teacher. You disrespect the teachers. You is a failure. And I'm telling you, the Carriacou and Petit Matnik from that end. May God bless you. Thank you, Sheldon.
Well, Pastor,
Yes, sir.
I just want you to be very careful with the words "start the uprising" on that end.
And when I said
We want to avoid any possibility of officers picking me up in the morning and picking you up to ask what we mean by uprising. Eh?
yes, and I could explain that to them, Sheldon, because when you claim yourself to be a representative of the people and you deceive them, desperate people do desperate things.
Well, no, let's just be careful that we mean by.
I understand what you are saying.
But no,
And
no. Let me, no, Pastor.
Yeah.
We have to protect the radio station.
Yes, I know. Right. Let me take back that.
You might have your own way of dealing with it if they come to you, but the radio station
I understand what you are saying.
has to find close to $6,000 to put in a defense if a case is brought against them. So
Right,
do
I understand that.
So let us be very careful
Right, so let me take back
with
that
the
statement.
language that we utilize. All right?
But yeah,
Okay.
what I'm
great.
saying,
Thank you.
At this time, the Carriacou people, they are feeling pain. The Carriacou people is going through stress. And I am feeling for these people. Yes, sometimes I make a step and I have to be careful. But oh God, from the heart,
I
these
know
people are
this.
suffering.
I understand. All I'm saying, we
They
have
are
to be very
suffering,
careful.
boy.
But, Pastor, you enjoy the rest of your night.
Yes, man.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes, man.
440737. So let's go to the overseas line. Hello, good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi, how are you?
Not bad at all. At this point,
Yes,
the only government that really spread propaganda and what they do to the people is a communist government, and that's what the Dickens government is, because propaganda alone they spread to the people.
All right, Father. Thank you so very much. All right, I think he's done. Yes, indeed. Let's go to the phone line. Oops. Hello? Hello? Okay, I think we lost that one. 440-7377-347-329-3101. Yes, just remember, the files does run deep, so when you go and say anything, we could bring Patrick Manning back from, and he could tell you, he could tell you for himself. We've got a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone line.
Brother Sheldon.
Hi, good night. Go right ahead, caller. You're live.
I've never and ever attempted to send my grandchildren to Claudette history class because sending them there is failure. And actually, no parents to ever send their children to Claudette history class because all them children will be failed because what he's saying there is not the truth. Brother Sheldon, I remember Ivan Morning. Like I'm sure was in Happy Hill. I'm sure you heard him say that he was out by the road and he saw some men that came from prison. They were going up. He said, Doc, we're going up home. When you are ready, you have to come for us. They said that to him. So that Dr. Mitchell in Happy Hill, walking about and visiting the area to find what is going on in Northwest and through the Grenada, Carriacou and Peter, he was there walking about, finding out and seeing what the destruction Ivan did. Dr. Mitchell, another pilot, a naval air hostess, he always be on the ground with the people, not as this present Prime Minister flying. Look at it, Ivan. He go up in Carriacou, but he go up in Carriacou with a helicopter. And when he set up there, they're pointing. Like I'm sure we have to visit people and to find out what is the concern. But actually, when I analyze this government, they have a carry. They build a carry. And a carry they building is a carry to see who could lie the most and who will get the crown. The king will be the king and the queen for lying the most. For the most. Because when you, Brother Sheldon, look, God, man, look at when you are going in Parliament, Brother Sheldon. You have Parliament where, somewhere on the people in Grenada see, looking at Parliament. People oversee, looking at Parliament. And when you have the ministers of government lying, but if you want to say something, I don't sure I might say something I lie. But they know what they say, but it's not the truth. But they go in Parliament and lying to the people and the people through the wall, see them lying, and they feel happy about that. These ministers of government, they have no shame. They have no shame because everyone can be shamed when they lie and they go feel shame. But that minister them they lying and they getting and the lie exposing they find out the lie what they say no the truth. What they say continue lying. But I could say this government will go wrong in the history book in history book of shame and disgrace and will be the worst government and the worst minister and the worst prime minister to ever govern this country. There is no other government will come in that will be worse as this government. Brother Sheldon, have a blessed night.
All right. Thank you so very much. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Yeah, no, the tape doesn't lie. You just said the tape doesn't lie. Yeah, it's no, we say that, his Patrick Manning did say it, Yeah.
The hurricane in Grenada, the very distinguished leader of the opposition of Grenada and a delegation headed by him came to...
And remember, it's not this leader of the opposition he's talking about. He's talking about the former leader of the opposition at that point in time. That was Mr. Tillman Thomas. Yeah?
Trinidad, and I saw them at their request. I took the opportunity to reassure them that our presence in Grenada does not mean, and in fact, we had no intention of interfering in the internal affairs of Grenada. However, we had 231 troops there. And at that time, there was much talk about coup and counter-coup and overthrow of government and so on. And we told them that it would have been very difficult.
If you know Patrick Manning, you realize he's scratching the head when he's saying that? When Patrick Manning said it would be very difficult, watch the movements. Oh, goodness.
And at that time, there was much talk about coup and counter-coup and overthrow of government and so on. And we told them that it would have been very difficult for us, with 231 troops in Grenada, to sit idly by and watch a democratically elected government replaced by undemocratic means.
So yeah, come on, that was Mr. Patrick Manning that was saying. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Good night, Brother Sheldon.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Not too bad,
Hey, my brother. Good to hear you, man.
Best night to all our listeners and viewers, wherever you are. But I want to be short. I mean, so much of things
you could
say about this government.
Devon,
but
you 6'3", how you could be short? Go ahead, Papa. Go ahead.
Yeah, so much of things is being said about this government. I mean, they just keep lying on their own selves. They're running away from themselves. But I just want to urge all NNP supporters. We excited because they're making all sorts of foolish mistakes that giving us fertile ground. No, I want to appeal to us as a team, as an organization, to start going more on the ground and mobilizing our base, right? Do the work when it comes to the voters list. And so let's ensure that our people, when time comes, are ready and prepared to vote, because we can only beat them if we go out there and vote. And to go out there and vote, we have to prepare. So let us keep the excitement up. Let us focus on all the information that has been given about what the government is doing. And let us use that as a launch pad to ensure that we put all our systems in place and we're ready to go when that time comes. I'm just appealing to our supporters to do that.
Yes,
but Sheldon, have a wonderful night.
Thank you so very much, my brother.
All right, take care.
All right. And folks, I had to take a piece of clip from Auntie Jenny. Yeah, I had to pull this piece of clip from over by Auntie Jenny, because I wanted her to remember the same history teacher. When people is hypocrite, they're hypocrite. One thing I can't stand is, I can't take on hypocrites. I don't like them. I can't stand them, right? Yeah, so let's hear the present Attorney General when she was just PR at the NDC. Yeah, take this one from over by Auntie Jenny.
proper CBI program if the officials around it are corrupt. NDC therefore demands that there must be substantial changes to the CBI law now. These changes...
Mind you, she is now the Attorney General, so she is the person who has all the power in the world right now to recommend and push through changes to the same CBI program. The person who's talking there right now, she might kind of skin up there. Yeah, she.
Changes must include 1. Making it a criminal offense punishable by long jail time to sell diplomatic passports. 2. Making it mandatory for the names, addresses, and countries of origins of all persons applying for and obtaining CBI status to be published. 3. Making it illegal for government officials to invest in CBI-approved projects. This is a clear conflict of interest. 4. Requiring stringent due diligence that is not influenced by government officials. 5. Removing some of the powers of the minister into the hands of an independent, qualified body. And 6. Barring persons acquiring CBI status from being able to vote in our election.
Now, let me tell you, yeah, you see, I tell you, I take that from by Auntie Jenny. Now, how is she now the minister who has all the powers to do those things? And let me tell you know how much out of all of that they have done? None. 0. Zilch. Not a single one. And she was one of the first people appointed, because usually you try to appoint your Attorney General early up. So she has been one of the first people appointed. Yeah, I've known Attorney Generals before. When you just hint them that, hey, this might be something that we have to look at. By the time you had the next parliament sitting, that piece of legislation in your hand already. Yeah? According to what it is. It's in your hand already. So you have an existing legislation here that when there was an opposition making all kind of things, this wrong, that wrong, this wrong, that wrong. Her political leader and prime minister who appoint her as the Attorney General right now, he is a CBI agent. She ain't talking about people being involved in government, also being involved in the CBI agent business as being corrupt. No. The Minister of Finance, the individual who gives all of the concessions to the CBI companies, is a CBI agent too, but you ain't saying nothing about that being corrupt. Yeah? They have a person who moonlights as a diplomat for the state of Grenada, but is also the treasurer of the NDC. And right now we're hearing rumors that the NDC has pulled in millions into their political bank account. Millions we hear gone inside there. But you ain't hearing about that being corrupt now, do you? You're hearing who get offered 2 million to hush, who get 5 million. You're hearing all kind of talking. I see a lot of things when I'm in tongue. A lot of things I see when I'm in tongue. You're hearing all kind of rumors and accusations in relation to the millions that the NDC as a political organization has already collected. Yeah, because they say, if you can't win the election, buy it out. So spend our money and buy them out. And that is the attitude that we're hearing out there. So they say, no, right, NNP can say what they want. We go run our money, and people will just vote for us because we run our money, we go pay them. That is the attitude. So now, all of a sudden, they have nothing to say about CBI program. They have nothing to say about these things. No, I think we have a caller on, oh boy, and now the thing freeze. Just when I need to take a call, it's frozen. Caller on the WhatsApp, you'll have to call back. The WhatsApp line has frozen. I've got to restart it. I'm not sure why that has happened, but I've got to restart it. Yeah, 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to get onto the inside of tonight's program. Now, when I was listening to our present Attorney General, because she's already proven just by CBI alone, she's proven that she's not to be trusted, she's untrustworthy, and she's a hypocrite. So she has already proven that. Then, additionally, she's gone in Parliament and peddled lies as truth. She's gone there and she's put into the National Record of Grenada lies that she's peddling as truth. This is a person that should not be trusted. In no form or format should Claudette Joseph, the Attorney General of Grenada, be trusted at her word. She has proven it beyond a shadow of a doubt that she ought not to be trusted. Sue me. I have the proof. Yeah? Talking about people couldn't. 2024. Everybody with a mobile device has access to the World Wide Web. Everybody. Very, very rare you might find a phone these days that does not have access to the World Wide Web. Which means, if your Prime Minister decides that he wants to play tourist, put on dark shades and jump on a helicopter and drive and fly between Grenada and Carriacou every week, with a whole camera crew being paid by the state of Grenada, from what we're hearing, being paid by the state of Grenada to walk with a camera crew, to put out videos and saturate social media. Then they say, well, people seeing where this prime, of course they'll see where this prime is. 2024. We have TikTok. We have, in fact, Facebook. Facebook didn't even exist in 2005. In fact, I think it's 2006 that Facebook came about. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Facebook didn't even exist back when Hurricane Ivan. In fact, no, it was founded in look at that. Facebook was founded in 2004. 2004. The same year that Ivan hit. Facebook didn't become popular until several years after. So you had to take that out of the equation. People couldn't find out anything about what was going on in Grenada through Facebook. Yeah? People couldn't find out anything. It had no TikTok. It had no Instagram. It had none of these platforms existed. So you couldn't get information out and about like that. It was the radio stations. All of them was gone. The only people that had internet in Grenada, you had very few people that had there's another type of internet outside of dial-up. I'm trying to remember the proper name of it, but there's another type of internet that existed after dial-up. But most people, when you're talking about internet and so in Grenada, there's the song you used to hear when the internet starting up. That was the sound of your internet connecting back in the days. And if somebody pick up the phone, that internet was off. So when you come talking about people couldn't and thing, clarify. Stop trying to bamboozle and dumb down the young population. Stop that. Explain to them. Explain to them what it was like in 2004. I made a call. I called my father in Trinidad to tell him the morning after the hurricane, I was able to phone him and tell him that I'm alive. I got through the hurricane. I'm alive. That was the last call I was ever able to make off of that device. It never worked again. Digicel network at that time was down. The Flow network, I got through that one call and that was it. You couldn't get through. The one or two places that had active home phone, when people started clearing up, they cut the cables and that was it. Who was getting a little bit of internet in some of those areas that had the fiber line and so, that was cut and people lose their phone connection, everything. So that was it. Plus you had no power to power any of these things anyway, so that was it. Yeah? So don't come and try to give the impression. Don't try to come and give the impression that somebody was wicked and they had abandoned Grenada and they went about their business and all your leaders so good. Where all your leader was during Hurricane Ivan, me and him is the same age. Where he was during Ivan, I can tell you where I was. I can tell you where I was in the year after Ivan. Helping elderly people build their homes with a group of other young people led by Emlyn Pierre. By 2005, disabled people, mothers with children but no father around. immediately after Hurricane Ivan. I was involved with the groups of people that was doing the cleaning around and everything. Where the Prime Minister was, talk about that now. Where he was, in fact, what was your involvement? Me personally and a good friend of mine, deceased Denzel Modest, were the two individuals that brought around the head of all utility companies and so all parts of St. George's that we couldn't go further. So we just bring them around St. George. The head of NOWASA, the head of T&Tech, of WASA in Trinidad, T&Tech, the Credit Union League, all of these people. Myself and himself were the two people on the bus. I think it was Crystal bus. And bring them all parts of St. George and so. And I always remember that because to a man, nearly the head of every utility company was asking questions. I think the head of WASA at the time asked, where's Birch Grove if we're going Birch Grove? I said, well, no, we're not reaching to Birch Grove. He said, well, what do you know about Birch Grove? Oh, my mother is from there. Then the head of the Credit Union League was saying that his people are from somewhere up St. John's side. And by the time you realize nearly every one of these utility companies in Trinidad, either their parent or their grandparent was from Grenada. And they knew which part of Grenada they were from. That is how I remember that. Where was the Prime Minister at that point in time? What he was doing for Grenada when Ivan hit? Right now, what are you doing? Just jump a plane, just jump a helicopter and go between Carriacou and Grenada, and that is doing something for Carriacou people? That benefiting Carriacou people? Come on, get real. 440-737-7347. I've got the WhatsApp line back up, so those of you that were trying to call on the WhatsApp, you can call now. We just have roughly 4 minutes, so it's going to have to be a very short call, but you can give us a call right now. But yeah, all you, before I forget, fix the stadium. I don't think much could be done in this space of time, or probably all you have to look at another facility or whatever, but please do what can be done. We have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Hi, good night, Sheldon.
Hi, my dear.
I remember quite clearly a couple of days after the prisoners escaped from South St. George Police Station, and I would have journeyed there with a friend, a colleague of mine, to do her temporary license. I would have seen they put in all these cameras in the South St. George Police Station. They installing all these cameras. So I'm wondering what happened to the camera, or who is monitoring the cameras that they haven't seen when this prisoner escaped over the weekend. So I'm not sure if the camera was something to make Grenada look good in the eyesight of America or in the eyesight of the alleged people that died. Family, but up to now, you're not hearing anything about that and person escape. So now we can see that the problem was not the police officers, but the problem was inside of the South St. George Police Station. And because it happened again, how prisoners could escape in the South St. George Police Station again, and they have such of a high camera system inside there. But you see now, they ain't talking and they ain't saying that because why? They want to cast the blame on the poor police officers that they say that they suspend, and not one of them ever spent one single day at home when you say that they was under investigation and they was suspended. But I always say to them that when you have a carrot and you rotten at the head and you cut out that rotten piece, you go always rotten. That was the same commissioner of prison when all the prisoners escaped, when he was in charge of the prison. So now you put him, he couldn't get a prison, but you put him now to guard the whole of Grenada. Prisoners escaping left, right, and center. That is the press conference we want to hear. That is the press conference they need to come and tell the nation that prisoners still escaping from South St. George. But everything they want to push under the rug. Don't push that one under the rug. Let us know how this prisoner escaped. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much, my dear. And folks, that's going to be all the time we've got for Talking Points tonight. You see what, Charlie? Just make me feel like I do the call again. You know, as soon as I'm done here, it goes. Folks, I want to thank each and every one of you for your calls tonight. All of you interacted. I'm sorry for those of you that didn't get through. I'm very sorry. For some reason, probably I need to update. For those of you that were trying to get through on the WhatsApp and were not able to do so, we'll sort out that problem before I leave tonight. All right, folks, I want to thank each and every one of you. And again, I want to thank all of you who came out last evening to yesterday evening's activity. Yeah, and you will be hearing pretty soon about more activities to come. Yeah, and not next year and thing, hearing about more activities to come very, very soon. All right, folks. So that's all the time we have for Talking Points. It's been wonderful being here. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking with you, and definitely not about you. I am out of here. And all you know, that is my team song tonight, so I'm going out with it too, man.
Education.
According to the caller, just don't put your children in Claudette history class. No.
That the most important part.
She's still teaching that Christopher Columbus discovered the New World, isn't it? Yeah.
Calling upon parents and guardians, sending your children to school. Cause a good education in this life would be the greatest tool. Respect to the elders and the teachers and those in authority. Remember when you sit down to learn, children, now listen attentively. Because the world that you're going out into would be your greatest teacher. There is no time now to be reluctant, everything child is computer. Always aim for the sky, work hard, think about your future. Because I want all you to be qualified with an intellectual power. Child education is what you want. If you must succeed, and you never know you could be an esteemed lawyer like Peter Levine. Qualification is what you need. If you must excel, and you could be a great mathematician, just like Dr. Kit Mitchell. Inspiration is what you need. Children must prepare, and you could be a woman rising in parliament like Miss Emmeline Pierre. Education is what you want, but it comes with hard work. But you could be an economist, I tell you, just like Nazim Buck. When I was a young boy, I never liked going to school. Somehow I felt that I knew it all, and my friends all thought it was cool. You know what? I was a role model. What I did, my friends emulate. Some call me a troublemaker and say that I will not graduate. When I heard these things, I got so frightened. Decided to clean up my act. I grabbed my school book and study.